And I think we have a quorum. This meeting is held as a virtual meeting, given that the Illinois governor has declared the coronavirus pandemic a disaster. I have determined that an in-person meeting is not practical or prudent because of the disaster. I've also determined that it is not feasible due to the disaster and the disaster declaration to have a library trustee, the library director, or the library's attorney present at the library. Okay, let's see who can hear. Please verify if you can hear. Catherine?
Yep.
George?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes, I can hear you.
Bonnie?
Yes, I can hear you.
Anne?
Yes, yes, yes.
Hey! Okay, I can hear too. All right, pledge.
Wait a minute.
Andrea, can you hear us?
Sorry.
It's Andrea and I can hear you.
Cool, thank you, Andrea. Okay, pledge.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag
flag
The
of the
United
United States of America and to
to
the republic
for
which it
which
stands,
one
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 nation,
nation,
one nation
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty
and
and
justice
justice
for
for all.
The Warren Newport Public Library District provides the community with access to information, kindles the imagination of children and adults, and supports lifelong learning. Would anyone like to speak in public comment?
No, I was so worried I wasn't going to be able to get on because I'm at my son's house. So anyway, I'm so glad.
Cool. Any written correspondence? All right, we're on to the consent agenda. Anybody want to remove anything from the consent agenda? All right, can I have a motion for approval as presented then?
So moved.
I'll second that. Any discussion? Okay, we can have a roll call.
Arnold,
Aye.
Cheng,
Aye.
Linsdau,
Aye.
Kotsinis,
Aye.
Farkapisi,
aye.
Sutton,
Hi.
Beckwith.
Aye.
I have it. I have it.
Okay, President's report. Questions, comments, concerns? All right, anyone else have a report? Okay.
Just
then
a new and notable, I noticed that the library is doing a very interesting craft for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders.
what is it?
Maybe Ryan can describe it better. It's a doodler pen. None of my kids qualify for it, but it looked really cool.
But you're curious.
I'm very curious. It's a maker type device that lets you draw in 3D.
Ooh.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Sounds fun. Anyone
Yeah.
else? Okay, then we're on to Ryan's report.
Yeah, just now we're about almost 2.5 weeks into having the public back in the building, which is great, and the people are very appreciative of us being open. We're still looking, to increase our services as we can. It would be great to increase hours. It would be great to increase, open things up. So, we continue to talk weekly about what more we can offer. Hopefully, the next couple of weeks we'll be able to expand computer access with appointments. We're starting to get some staff that are getting vaccinated, so that's a good thing. Especially our staff that work north of the border. It seems like they have sooner access than some people in Illinois, so that's a good thing. I think we're eager to keep moving forward. I think one of the challenges we have right now is staffing. If you look at the executive director's report of about a year ago versus today, we're down about 14 people. And that, how has that happened? Well, kind of slowly over time, because when this happened, I think there were people that were retirement eligible that decided to retire. They didn't want to worry about working under these conditions. We've had a few people have other opportunities that have opened up, believe it or not, and they've moved on, and it just slowly but surely that's happened. And with a couple of notable exceptions, we haven't replaced those individuals for obvious reasons. When you're you're not as many hours, you don't want to fill positions when you don't necessarily have the hours for those people to do something. So, but now we're looking at how do we address those needs. We won't necessarily completely replace all those people that left us, but a lot of those positions we do need to replace. So so that I think will be our next challenge in terms of really opening back up and getting closer to our normal operating hours, because we do have a lot of people out. Some of the staff members that have been getting vaccinated, we've allowed, they've had to miss time to recover. So I, hopefully by the next board meeting, I can talk to the board about us doing some expansion of services and hours. But at this point, we're happy with what we're doing. Patrons seem to be happy. There are still a few complaints about, oh, we wish you were offering this, or we wish you had, more of your regular hours. But for the most part, I think the community's happy with where we're at. But we continue to monitor it and push forward as we can.
Ryan, I had one question because several people have asked me about opening bookends again. I see that the Friends met. What's their situation as far as that goes?
Yeah, Jane and Christy. Jane is the president of Friends, and Christy is the manager of Bookends. They reached out to me, and I talked to Christy briefly about it, but I think it's one of those things that we want to start to kind of lay the groundwork for that. But I don't think that, I think one of the things that the Friends want is they want to make sure that their volunteers get vaccinated. We'd like to, explore what we can do in that space. We'll talk about the MERV 13 filters. I know the Friends asked me if they could get a portable HEPA filter. There are some downsides to that. I'm not opposed to it if they want to fund it, but we need to figure out how that will work with what other things we're doing in the building. So, I'm talking with the Friends about it, but we don't have a date determined. I think, I think they want to get vaccinated and feel comfortable, and I want that as well. As a lot of our friends are, are more
Retired
at
and
risk.
elderly.
Yeah. So that's where that's at, Bonnie. But yeah, it's something that we're casually talking about, at least setting the foundation for when we are able to do that. We will, because you're right. That's maybe one of the top questions. Computers. When will we have greater computer access? And then also bookends. Bookends probably is number one.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that's based on talking to staff. When I talked to Felix, our security supervisor today, he said that's what people have asked about the most. Yeah. So.
Okay.
You haven't had any problem with anybody refusing to wear masks or anything, have you?
Nothing that is. I mean, there have been people that needed reminded, or we've had to give them a mask, but no incidents where people really pushed it. So
Good. Okay, good.
But yeah, but it still happens, I think, on a daily basis, where someone will, not have their mask on or leave it in their car or something. So still happens.
Okay, anything else on this? Okay, we're on to the MERV filter.
Yeah, so I basically everything I wanted the board to know is in the it was in that email I put in the board packet. I'd like to move forward with this. I think it's something that can be done within our current budget, within the maintenance budget, and looking ahead to future expenditures. There may be a slight increase in energy expenditures, and the filters will be slightly more expensive than what we're using now. But I don't think it is I think it's a sustainable increase. I think it's worth it for what the return we get. So I just wanted to put this on the agenda so the board was aware that we want to move forward with that and make sure there were no objections to it.
Any objections?
No.
Okay, then we don't need a motion. LED.
I'll go ahead and share the the recommendation from product design, architecture and design. I think it was in the board packet, so I think you've all seen it. No one had any, no one sent me any questions. I think this is pretty clear on what we need to do, what the board should do moving forward in terms of who to award this bid. There were 3 bids. There were multiple people that came. I think we had to update. I think it was 8 that came for the mandatory walkthrough. Why do we only have 3? I think at the end of the day, there's this incentive program for smaller businesses that knocked out a lot of the potential bidders, but probably helped us. And the low bid is also has good references, checks out the few libraries I've heard that had issues with their LED projects. I reached out to them to verify that they didn't work with this company, and they didn't. So I think it's pretty clear what the board should do. If you look at this, it's the total is a little bit over what we have in the budget if you include the contingency. However, even with the retaining wall that we paid for, there's still money left over from the parking lot phase project this year that would cover that contingency. So I think budget wise we're okay with this project. I don't think the board will need to allocate any more funds this fiscal year. So so it's my recommendation that the board would award the bid to Alltech Energy. Are there any questions, comments, concerns about awarding this bid?
I just had, excuse me, sorry.
Go ahead, Bonnie.
I just had a question about the rebate, the ComEd rebate. Is that a one-time deal or every year?
One-time deal.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Okay.
That would be nice. I would like
I
that.
know, right?
I'm afraid not.
Yeah.
I had a question about project management in terms of the timeline and seeing the completion of the project. Is this something that's going to be directly under you, Ryan, or are you delegating the management of the project?
Yeah, Kevin Getty, our head of facilities, will be the point person on the project in terms of the oversight, and we are working with product as architecture and design as well, and they're going to assist. So, but in terms of our project manager, it would be Kevin.
Thank you.
And Jennifer, you kind of hinted at asking about the timeline. There is a chance that this project could bleed over to the next fiscal year if lighting fixtures do not come in on time, because there have been some delays with other projects that we know of. However, we anticipate we can get it done this fiscal year. The only holdup would be the availability of the light, some of the fixture retrofits. So but as of right now, we think we can get it done this fiscal year. So that's the plan.
Great, thanks.
Okay. Any other questions? So can I have a motion to approve the bid? I move that the board approve winning bid for LED lighting project to Alltech Energy.
I second it.
Discussion? Okay, roll call.
Sutton,
Aye.
Falcapisi,
Aye.
Cheng,
Aye.
Linstow,
Aye.
Arnold,
Aye.
Kotsinis,
Aye.
Beckwith.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay, parking lot.
Yeah, I think it's my next page. Okay, we'll just go over to this tab. Yeah, this intergovernmental agreement is almost identical to the one that the board passed, has passed the last couple of phases. So this is the last phase of the parking lot project, I'm happy to say.
Yay.
So I don't know if there are any concerns. I take this as a total win for us, because we not only get the cost savings that result in being part of a bigger project. The village, even though they are having some challenges with their budget, still plan on doing their annual roads project, where they will keep maintaining the roads and parking lots in the village, and our project will be wrapped into that. And that will help us with cost. And then we get their expertise, because we are not experts as great as Kevin is with all kinds of facility things. He knows a lot. He'll be the first to tell you that parking lots are not his forte. So we get the village's expertise with oversight of this project. So it's a total win. And I don't know if there are any questions about it. I'm very thankful that the village has agreed to work with us again, because they are strapped for resources, not only financially, but also staffing wise. And they still are working with us. I'm very grateful to the village. I'm very thankful for that.
I think it's great that we're going to be able to share with them and they're going to share with us. That's great.
Brian, you said it's the last phase. How long would we be in the clear for then? Like another 5 years before we revisit this?
Oh, that's a good question. I think our current parking lot, was it done in, not Kenny Seal coating? It might have been done back in 97 previously.
Oh, wow.
I might be wrong about that, but it should, I think we'll get 15, 20 years out of it.
That's awesome.
I think it was done when the addition was done because we changed the configuration of the parking lot. And that finished in 2000, the addition of parking lot finished in 2011. So it's been a very short life. But as we found out when they ripped it up to replace it, that the foundation underneath the parking lot wasn't done to the level that we would have expected. So we had a very short life on the previous parking lot, but we should expect a very long life on our new parking lot.
Mhm.
I believe, Andrea, wasn't it that they hadn't put enough of this rock and stone underneath?
Right, it was the pea gravel or whatever it was, but you know, it more than doubled the cost of what we expected to spend.
Yeah, our last one was built on sand, which was not good.
I'll get a final, when we work with the village, Catherine, I'll get I'll get their take on what their expected time frame is, so we know exactly. So when we eventually put it back in the capital plan, we'll know where to put it.
All right, any other questions? Okay, who would like to make the motion?
I move that the board enter into an intergovernmental agreement between the village and the Warren Newport Public Library District to contract for the repair and maintenance of parking lots, phase 3.
I second that.
I second that. This is Jennifer.
Discussion?
I just want to make sure who was the second one. There was Bonnie and Jennifer.
Jennifer.
Jennifer,
Yes,
okay. Thank you.
Okay, roll call then, Gina.
Parkapisi,
Aye.
Kotsinis,
Aye.
Sutton,
Aye.
Cheng,
Aye.
Linsdau,
Aye.
Arnold,
Aye.
Beckwith.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay, capital planning projects.
This was a placeholder in the agenda in case I had any major updates for the projects we previously discussed. I don't have any major updates. I will say that we will have our a better idea of the firm numbers for a lot of the things that will be in that first draft of the budget. You'll look at some of the technology items will be in there. So I don't have any major updates here, just that we're still on track to have a early draft of the first look at the budget for April Committee of the Whole.
Okay, items for next month's agenda. Okay. Anyone want to speak in public forum? Okay, anyone have any announcements besides what's on the agenda?
We're a quiet bunch tonight.
Would
So
like
I have a question.
Okay.
Are we planning to go back to meeting in person?
Catherine, yeah, I mean, I would love to meet in person. Right now, one of the challenges we have has to do with the quarantine situation. We still are quarantining materials for 24 hours per the recommendations of come out of the realm study and Rails. Although I continue to monitor that because I think it's probably better to be safe, but I don't know that that's necessary anymore, honestly. But I'm not epidemiologist or anything like that. So as long as they're recommending 24 hours, I think we should probably stick with it. But
Your point being, Ryan, that there's no place, the books are taking up all the library space. No
yeah,
place for board meetings.
there may be an alternative locations we could consider in the meantime, but right now a lot of that public space is being used up for other purposes, unfortunately. So that's the biggest challenge. And obviously we want to make sure we can social distance, keep people safe. So I think really we need the meeting rooms to do it, unless we've had another location in our community where we can meet. And I have some ideas. So if the board strongly wants us to aggressively push for a meeting in person, I can be more proactive with trying to find an alternative location, if you'd like.
What do people think about that? An alternate location, I mean.
I'm fine with this until,
Yeah, if we can be in the library, that's one thing. If it's somewhere else.
I kind of agree. Then we'd have to publicize it, and I don't know.
and because
be
since
too
our
much
board
longer.
meetings are filmed, then, we've got all that, we would have all that to deal with. So I'm
Mhm.
perfectly fine with it is until we can get back to normal.
Joe, the statement you read at the beginning, does that have an expiration?
Well, not yet, but do you
Good
know
point.
what the governor is planning for that, Ryan? Has he said?
Well, when I talked to him on the phone today, Joe, he didn't give me any updates.
Really?
So, no,
I didn't mean to do it, talk to him personally.
I've
been monitoring.
No, I'll kidding aside. I continue to, I do monitor, and I know at some point I'm sure that the mask mandates will end and these things will end. But yeah, I've not heard any word through Illinois ILA Public Policy Committee or anything like that this is going to end at a certain date. So obviously when I hear something, I'll share it with the board.
It really just seems that it's going to be dependent upon the vaccination rates getting higher than they are now.
Mhm.
Don't you think?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Just giving everybody notice, if we wrap this up soon, we will beat our record by 11 minutes.
All right. I
All right, Andrea, let's go.
It's Joe, Gina. Who would like to second that?
I'll second.
How many of us
everybody?
can jump in on that?
Okay, roll call.
Second.
I'm
I
sorry.
just want to know who's second.
I think a lot of us did.
That's why.
It was George.
George? Okay,
George.
I got it. Okay. Linsdale,
Hi.
Arnold,
Hi.
Farcapisi,
I forgot what I'm voting on.
Adjourning.
and Journey.
Aye.
You were the one who suggested it.
Good question.
Rush them along and then forget.
Cheng,
Hi.
Cheng,
Hi.
Sutton,
Hi.
Kotsinis,
Aye.
Beckwith.
Hi.
Okay, I have it.
7:23.
That is a new record by 10 minutes. Our old record is
Seriously?
33
Oh, boy.
minutes.
I thought our record was 26 minutes. Okay.
I did
Well,
too.
maybe, but Eve, we beat that.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.